Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing a photography collection that my library had that I just loved looking through and had a great time reading. That is Views from the Sleeping Bear, photographs of the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore, and the photography was by Thomas Kachadurian. This book is a little bit older. I believe the copyright here was 1998, so there are some things referenced that are maybe a little outdated. However, the photography is timeless. There's a lot of emphasis on the natural area around Sleeping Bear, which is a nationally protected region of the Great Lakes shoreline that exists in the state of Michigan. It is beautiful, the photography is wonderful, and if you ever get a chance to visit the National Dunes or the National Lakeshore, please do, because it is worth the trip. I recently read another photography collection also on the Sleeping Bear Dunes, so I was already kind of familiar, and I've been there several times this summer alone and several times in my life as well. So I am kind of familiar with how things look, but I'm always surprised at how different photographers are able to capture different things, or maybe I can just look at the same picture of Sleeping Bear multiple times and be content. So this was a really fun collection. I looked at it over the course of several days. Start your day with a cup of coffee and looking at some beautiful pictures that make you want to take a trip and not log into your work laptop. But we may do, and now I'm going to want to take another trip to Sleeping Bear, and I'm going to just briefly discuss the way the book is set up and then show you some of my favorite photographs. So the book is very much photograph heavy. Most of it just consists of like this, where you have photographs and just the briefest of mentions at the bottom. There are some insets which explain a little bit more of the local history or points of interest, but it's very sparsely interspersed throughout this book. So there's not a lot on the history. There is a little bit, and it does kind of break up the book, which is nice. And finally, for those of you who are photographers, in the back there is a section explaining his process and this photograph information, which has the camera and the lens. This information is basically meaningless to me, but if you like doing photography, this might be very meaningful to you. Also, my library would like this returned to the front desk and not the book chute. So there is a huge sticker on the front, but that is for the library's book protection. So unfortunately, that is kind of ruining the aesthetic of the cover, but I'm a library reader, so I can't do anything about it. Now let's look at some of my favorite photographs. Really, for a lot of photography collections that I get out of the library, all of the photographs are my favorite, but I can't just sit here and show you every single photograph. I feel like, one, that may be a copyright infringement of just showing you the book for free as opposed to a true review, but two, I want to give you the chance and the surprise of looking through this yourself. So here's the first one. I found that the author really took a lot of pictures in fog. So this is like a foggy lakeshore. There's a fisherman, page 15. And this author did focus, and this goes back to what I was saying, where each photographer seems to take their own unique view of the landscape or looks for different things. And I felt like this photographer really focused a lot more on fog, or there were more foggy pictures. Some seem to be more partial to the fall colors. I love the fall colors. But each one seems to have a little bit different view of the world, and that comes through their photography. So I do think that this author had a lot of the foggy pictures, which I also like. Something else you'll notice is the colors of the water. Really, really cool. Really, really interesting. Here's a foggy morning. The sun, unfortunately the light kind of reflects off the glossy pages, but this looks perfect. Here's another slightly foggy morning over a lake. Nothing is better than hiking and coming across the lake early in the morning. You got that fog going. Really pretty. This lake is Little Glen Lake. So I think when a lot of people go to the lakeshore, Lake Michigan takes a lot of their focus. Here's a river emptying into Lake Michigan. And that makes sense because Lake Michigan is huge and is kind of the focus, and the National Lakeshore is really protecting the lakeshore of Lake Michigan. But there are also a lot of other lakes in the protected region which are also pretty and kind of are in a certain sense playing second fiddle when they're really just equally beautiful. Here's another foggy morning. I really, again, think the author focused a lot on the fog. The blue of the lake is really what comes through in all the Sleeping Bear Dune collections of photography that I have read. Just the way that the lake colors are. And for those of you who have not been in person, the lake really does seem to shift colors on different days. It appears different hues of blue or sometimes even gray, and it can appear different hues due to like brightness and depth. And that's not just Lake Michigan. Lake Huron I've also been to, where different sections appear different colors at different times of the year. I forgot to show this one. See how clear that water is? This is some fall colors. I've had the opportunity to paddle up something like this. Not this is the Platte River, but something similar, just like a small channel of water with fall colors on either side. Perfect. It is now getting a little too cold to be in the water. Well, I could if I was in, I have a paddleboard, not like a kayak, and I don't like going out on the paddleboard in the late fall because I don't, even though I wear a life vest, I don't want to fall off of it, even if I'm sitting or kneeling. I probably would if I wore a wetsuit. But I'm getting to the end of, I put the paddleboard away for the season. But yeah, the fall colors on the paddleboard when it's a little warmer earlier in the fall, absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend. I also love the winter scenes. Sleeping Bear Dunes, nationally protected area, so it does get a good amount of tourist traffic, at least, or in particular the dune climb, which is like the big attraction. However, the lakeshore in winter is also absolutely gorgeous. So if you do come to visit or you want to book a trip in winter, you can come visit and avoid the crowds, which is really the benefit. Got a beautiful fall scene. Again, I think this author focused less on fall colors and more on other scenes. We got some really nice sunset over the lake. Also always a great experience. And we got two more. I really like these wetland sort of looking photographs as well. I think that is also an inland lake. Narada Swamp is what that is. So again, one of those wetland areas kind of playing second fiddle to Lake Michigan, but in my opinion, equally as beautiful. And the final one, just showcasing the fantastic coloring of Lake Michigan from a vantage point. So overall, if you like the National Lakeshore, the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore, then be sure to check out Views from the Sleeping Bear. This is a great photography collection. It is, again, from 1998, but that does not in any way negate the beauty of the photography that was captured in this book. It was really fun. I had a great time reading it over the course of several days, and I hope if you choose to pick up this book, you enjoy it as well. Please let me know of the photographs that I showed you, which one was your favorite in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.